imagine somebody offered you $5 for every victory in Hourglass PvP. Sounds pretty good, right? But what if I told you that there is a catch? What if in order to earn those $5, you would have to win all of your battles in 2v1? Yep, sloop on sloop PvP against a crew double your size. $5 for every win and an additional $200 on top for getting a perfect 10 streak. Who would be crazy enough to accept that challenge? Sea of Thieves streamer Miffoo would rise to the occasion. With a whopping 9,000 hours of experience under his belt, he felt confident to be able to take me to the bank. Little did he know what he signed up for. Hey, I'm back, how's it going? Okay, I see. I gave him 1 hour to prepare his vessel for the challenge, to try and find as many supplies, high-tier food, and most critically, cursed cannonballs as possible. Honestly, I was expecting him to sweep the first couple matches, but much to my surprise, the very first round of PvP immediately got extremely wild. How are you feeling?
Oddly awake.
Oddly awake. First 2v1 battle. Against the Codfather. Good luck, I'll be in the crow's nest.
I'm gonna do something silly here.
Ooh, okay, advanced harpoon play, interesting. Oh my god, they did not see that coming. You gotta hit those though, you gotta hit those.
I do. And I missed every single one of them.
Oh man. Oh, I got one bolt. Don't worry about me, keep fighting, don't worry about me. Oh, the things we do to get this shot. I learned the hard way that staying in the crow's nest would probably be my best bet at catching any of the action, and I gotta say, it didn't take long for Miffoo to warm up. But unfortunately for him, I was not the only one destined to eat lead.
I'm dead.
Ooh, that's really bad. It appears the mast is going down. Whoa, it's not looking too good. Yo, that's rude. So there appears to be somebody on your boat. Anchor down, mast broken, and an enemy stopping you from repairing? For most of these players, this would spell certain demise. But luckily, Miffoo is not like most players. His enemies thought themselves victorious, having anchored right next to him, but our contestant successfully defeated the invader and now proceeded to toss out water right into their ship. And as it turned out, Miffoo was not above playing dirty.
This is no good. Hey, Clip.
Hey, what's up? Are you guys just bailing into each other?
Yeah.
What is happening?
This is a battle of buckets.
If you let me float, I'll give you a screenshot.
Oh, I don't know what to do.
At that point, it was obvious that Miffoo's opponents had recognized my voice, and apparently getting a screenshot with me was something that they were willing to bargain for. After explaining the challenge to them and also granting said screenshot, the two of them agreed to reset the fight and give Miffoo another chance at redemption. But this time, I decided to sit on the opposing vessel just to mix things up a bit. And tell you what, this second chance was one that our contestant definitely did not waste. At one point, it really seemed like he was an inch away from taking the win, but in due time, the tables had turned once again. The only thing worse than that, some random galleon decided to crash our party. We were in a broadside versus broadside kind of situation when suddenly Miffoo was taking damage from an unexpected foe. And I mean, of course I did what any good event organizer would. Yo, shoot the other sloop, what the hell? Bro! This is just not fair. Yeah, I'm gonna handle this galleon, don't worry about it.
I am dead.
Yeah, I was just thinking for a second there. We need to get rid of this third party first.
Sorry.
Man, I thought we were friends with the fire ship.
Now, a fair fight, this is not. That it definitely wasn't. In true pirate fashion, the opposing sloop had seized the moment and used the galleon's cannons to shoot at Miffoo whilst under the guise of helping me dispatch these intruders. The galleon was gone, but the damage was already done. At one point, I had convinced one of the surviving galleon members to attack the sloop in my stead because as per our rules, I was not allowed to assist Miffoo in his battle. But if there's one thing that this fight showed me, it's that this was never going to be a fair encounter no matter how I sliced it. I mean, that's the whole point of the challenge. But even in that dire situation, Miffoo refused to give up. Hey, I'm back. How's it going? Okay, I see. So at what point do you decide that half an hour into this fight, this is no longer worth it?
You don't.
Okay, got it. Alas, his ambition would be his downfall. You see, Miffoo only had about 6 hours to try and win 10 PvP battles, but his pride dictated that he should not give up on a fight no matter how dire it looked. Though unfortunately, the outcome remained the same.
Oh, that's rough.
GG's. Good fight.
Hey, GG's fellas. And with that, the first battle was lost. And tell you what, it was not gonna get easier from here. Not only did Miffoo lose an hour's worth of supplies, but he also just spent 40 minutes in a fight that ultimately earned him $0. It is also worth mentioning that Hourglass PvP in Sea of Thieves utilizes skill-based matchmaking. The long and short of it is that the better you play, the tougher your opponents. And since Miffoo literally spent hundreds upon hundreds of hours competing in this game mode to unlock level 1000 in both of the factions, yeah, the enemies he had to fight were seriously no joke. We were stacking up losses like it's nobody's business, and at some point I figured that my friend over here is gonna need to pick me up. And thankfully, I had just the idea to make that happen.
What are you doing?
Hey, what's up? Welcome back. I decided that if you sink these guys right now, you're gonna get 1 sub.
Okay, appreciate it.
Now, needless to say that, without skill-based matchmaking, this fight was a cakewalk for him. It definitely was not helping the other guy's case that he spent more time shooting me, who was literally doing nothing, than actually fighting the guy trying to sink him. And with that, Miffoo had earned his first victory on the basis of a technicality. Alright, good job, Miffoo.
Thank you.
Congratulations on your first victory, well earned. There were 2 players, I could confirm I was on their ship, there were 2 players.
Technical counts as 2 players.
Yeah, I mean, I was on their ship, so there was 2 players on their ship, right? $5 was a small price to pay in order to turn this challenge around, which is exactly what happened, because on the back of that victory, Miffoo started firing on all cylinders. His priorities, as well as his cannon shots, were absolutely on point, and even when the mast went down once again, he remained completely calm, leading to a well-earned victory. Oh my god, you did it! Holy crap, let me just help you real quick.
Well played.
Oh, Lord.
GG's, fellas. This was it, right? The win we needed to turn around the ship. Unfortunately, the matchmaker was not done with us yet, because guess who we got queued up against next? That's right, the Godfather. The same dudes that took 40 minutes out of Miffoo's timer, though in a perhaps unsurprising twist, these fellas had something to say.
What's your offer? Stay on a ladder.
We'll give you all of our supplies, which is 50 chain shots, like 5 stacks of cannons.
What?
Why?
And then you can, I don't know, maybe have better luck.
What? Is it bad luck me fighting you?
But we want to help you. We want to give you supplies.
Now that was certainly a turn of events. If Miffoo was to accept that offer, he would be in fantastic shape to continue his win streak, not to mention take the prize money for his victory absolutely for free. And since this was not against the rules that I laid out at the start of this event, there wasn't even anything I could do to stop that. But Miffoo declined the offer. Once again, letting his pride dictate his actions, he thanked them for their kindness but chose to fight after all. And I think you don't need me telling you how that ended. Okay, at this point in the challenge, there were several problems he needed to overcome. For one, you can only buy supplies at outposts once every few hours, meaning every time he lost and we spawned at an outpost we had been at before, he could not buy any additional cannonballs, food, or planks. Furthermore, skill-based matchmaking ended up making this challenge so incredibly difficult that I needed to modify the rules a bit. From now on, every solo victory would net a payout of $15, but he could choose to use me as a build rat, bucketing and repairing the boat, and continue earning $5 per win. A decision I allowed him to make on the fly on a fight-by-fight basis. And that ended up making the desired difference. Even though he did not make use of his Joker in every fight, just knowing that he could rely on me bucketing his ship when push came to shove allowed him to play more aggressively, and with that, we began building momentum. You know what's funny about that? This is what I said after establishing the new rule set. Honestly, Miffoo, I feel like this is gonna be the one. This is gonna be the fight that turns the ship around, followed by victory number 1. Oh my god, let's go! Finally! Woo. Victory number 2 against the crew he lost to before with the help of his Joker. Let's go, Miff!
Revenge sake!
And most importantly of all,
They have crates. Oh my gosh, they have crates!
did I not say that one win will be the turning point? I said that, right? I said that. Oh, they got cannonballs for days, too. We were doing so well, in fact, that Miffoo decided to take an intermission to sell all the PvP flags we had gathered. At this point, some of you will probably have commented that me paying a streamer to win PvP battles in my stead is how I'm gonna get the skeleton curse, and for those of you I would say, you're dang right, that's how I'm gonna get the skelly curse. But unfortunately, all good things eventually have to come to an end. Even with me as a build rat, Miffoo was doing the brunt of the work, and not all battles were ultimately winnable. Oh no! No!
GG's, guys.
GG's.
Hello, how are you doing, Cliff?
I am doing fantastic. Currently on twitch.tv/Miffoo with a PvP challenge.
It's rather embarrassing me falling off the boat like that.
Don't kill them! At the end of our session, our contestant walked away with a total of 23 gifted subscriptions, costing me $115. This is it for our first episode of Cliff's Creator Challenge. If you enjoyed this format, do make sure to let your opinion known down in the comment section below. But if it's more videos you're looking for, what about you check out my last episode in which I challenged myself to stow away on a ship in order to escape an island. You can find a card on screen right now. But until then, thank you everybody so much for watching. I hope you guys have a day filled with riches on the sea. And until next time, peace.